The Detroit Lions claim the number one seed for the first time in franchise history, and for back-to-back years clinch the NFC North, winning the NFC North, and they will have a bye next week, and they will not play until the divisional round, and their opponent is, not decided yet. But the Lions absolutely decimate the Minnesota Vikings. They beat them 31-9 and moved to 15-2 on the season. That is the end of the regular season. That is their final record. That is a franchise best by what now? 3 games. Our best record before this was 12-5, or just 12 games won in the regular season. So we for sure did that. And we also went 6-0 on the division this season, which I do not think is a franchise record. It could be. I'm not sure about that. I'm sure we've done it before as well, but it ties the franchise record, obviously, for sure. So we've broken a lot of records today, and just this season it's been unreal. Vikings fall to 14-3. They will now be the 5 seed. They will take on the Rams on Monday Night Football next week. I really thought the NFL was setting us up to face the Rams next week to have a wild card rematch, like they did last year, because that's how they set that up. But no, it's going to be the Vikings, and I actually do think the Rams are going to get an upset though next week. Not because the Vikings had a bad game today, but because I think the Rams are just like they were last year in the playoffs, except they're going to win this time. They were extremely dangerous at the end of the regular season last season, and they are the same this year. I think they're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings next week, which leads us to a possibility of us taking them on potentially in the NFC title game if we make it that far. If they make it that far as well. So let's go over this stuff like we always do. This video might be a little bit longer, and I might seem more tired because I am tired. Jared Goff had a pretty solid day. He threw 2 picks, 27 for 33. Nobody's acknowledging this either when I'm making this video, unless if I'm wrong here. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I looked it up. Jared Goff went 27 for 33 in the day. That is, when I looked it up, I think it was 80% or 81% or something like that. Which means Jared Goff, from what I'm understanding, would have the most games above 75% completion percentage in a single season in NFL history. He was tied with, I think, Breeze and Brady all time. But if he did get above 75% completion percentage, and I was correct on that, he will have now the most games in NFL history with above 75% completion percentage. So Jared Goff, shout out to Jared Goff, man. He's been unbelievable. He's not going to win MVP. I'd be shocked if he did. But he's had an unreal season. 231. Now, I do think he did surpass the amount of passing yards he did last year. I believe he had like 45, a little over 4,500 last year. And I don't think he got 4,600 this year, but I think he got slightly more in the 4,500s this year than he did last year. So he continues breaking records for the Lions. Also got a passing touchdown, did throw 2 picks. I believe he now has 37 passing touchdowns on the season, did not hit 40. But that was going to be tough for him to do anyway. And the 2 picks, one of them came off of a batted ball, and the other one came off of a deep shot that it was kind of 50-50. J-Mo quit running his route on the deep ball, and it could have been a better throw by Goff, but it was 50-50. You can put it on whoever there. So you could argue that both those interceptions weren't even on Goff. So Jared Goff, pretty good day for the most part. Didn't have an elite game or anything, but he played pretty solid. I thought even those numbers might not say it besides his completion percentage. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm wearing his jersey right now, had 23 carries for 139 yards, 6 yards to carry, 3 rushing touchdowns. I believe he ended with 15 or 16 on the season. I believe 15, which is 2 shy from tying the all-time record with Jamal Williams. Yes, Jamal Williams. It's weird to say the name nowadays since he's done nothing these past couple of years. But Jahmyr Gibbs had probably his best career day as a Detroit Lion. Probably for sure the best. Craig Rollins, by the way, is not a very... wow, that's not what I meant. He is not a bad backup running back at all. 8 carries, 39 yards, 4.9 yards a carry. One of the better third-string running backs in the league. And he's unreal, man. I mean, like, whenever he comes in, he does the job. He always gets good yardage. He is a good backup running back, man. St. Brown on the receiving end, 6 for 677. It's doing St. Brown things. Laporta, I kept telling you guys a couple weeks ago, I think it was around week 13 when this started, is when he started looking at his 2023 Laporta self again, and he continues to show he's going back to his 2023 self again. Had another really good day, 7 for 63. Jameson Williams did hit 1,000 yards, catching 6 balls for 34 yards. So shout out to Jameson Williams. I believe he got like around 1,005 on the year or something like that. So shout out to JMO. I think I read something from Detroit Lions PR that the Detroit Lions now have two 1,000-yard receivers on the season with Jameson Williams and St. Brown, and they both have 7+ touchdowns receiving on the year, which is the first time in NFL history in a single season where a team has had two 1,000-yard receivers with 7+ receiving touchdowns. So the Lions receivers continuing making history. Jahmyr Gibbs, again, 5 for 31 and a touchdown through the year. Unreal. Tim Patrick made a couple nice grabs, 2 for 15. Raymond also was activated off injured reserve, did play, had 1 catch for 11 yards. He was out there quite a bit on the offensive side of the ball, more than I expected. On the defensive side of the ball, you see him on the thumbnail, Amik Robertson played his best game as a Detroit Lion, arguably his best game in his NFL career. He had a phenomenal day. Was going against Justin Jefferson on the outside today. Not Terrion Arnold. He was actually going against Jefferson more than Terrion Arnold today. And Meek Robertson, I believe I read a stat, he allowed 2 catches for 50 yards or something like that. Now, that might seem like a lot, but that is not at all. On 7 targets as well. He played out of his mind. He had a phenomenal game. He's been such a good signing, Brad Holmes. He will be here next year as well. I think we signed for 2 years, $9 million. Unbelievable pull by Brad Holmes. Alex Anzalone was also activated off injured reserve. You see him on the thumbnail as well. He played out of his mind as well. Man, it just, like, our linebacker room, it completely changed with him. He's not the best linebacker I've ever seen, all right? By far, he's not the best linebacker I've ever seen. But he changes the defense to a level, like, I don't even know how to explain. When he is not out there, our linebackers suck. They're absolutely horrible in terms of the backups. We can never find a guy to just put in there and fill the role. We just can't. When he is in there, linebackers play their mind, backups play their mind. He changes the whole defense. He is unreal. Zadarius Smith did get a sack. He did not get the 2 sacks he needed to get a $250,000 incentive, so that kind of sucks for him. But he did get a sack. Almost got a couple on the day. He played a very good day. Levi Owens-Enrique also had a pretty solid day. Got a couple pressures. Almost got him down a couple of times. Probably played his best game in a couple of weeks. Al-Qaeda Muhammad got a sack as well. I believe that's his 3rd on the season. We need to bring him back next season, man. He's been very good this year. Anybody else on the defensive side of the ball? Terrion Arnold did go down, I believe, in the 3rd quarter with, I think it was a ankle injury. I'm not certain on that. He did have a walking boot in the locker room. Dan Campbell in his press conference did say the tests were negative, which is a good thing, which probably means it's only a sprain. Now, that is initial test. I'll know more tomorrow. But that is a very good thing. Now, there still is a chance that even if that is true, he still could miss the divisional game, but I'm sure if we were able to make that NFC title game, then he would for sure be able to come back. So, really, I'm not too concerned about it, if I'm going to be honest. I'm really not, depending who we go against in the divisional round, obviously. But, man, I also want to shout out Kendall Vildor. When he did come in for that 4th quarter and a little bit in the 3rd quarter, he played very, very well. I don't think he had a lot of reception. Did get a holding penalty called against him, but besides that, he played a heck of a game. And that holding penalty was in garbage time on the final possession the Vikings had on the day. So, I'm not tripping about it. Kendall Vildor had a very good day for the most part that he was out there. Anybody on the defensive side of the ball here? I don't think so. Let me look through them here real quick. Josh Pascal had a pretty solid day. He almost got there once as well. I think that is it to highlight on the defensive side of the ball. Brian Branch made a couple of plays. Kirby Joseph did not get 10 interceptions on the season, unfortunately, ended with 9, but that still was the NFL leader with 2 more interceptions than the second, which was Packers' Xavier McKinney with 7. Cleese Raymond was making plays in the punt return game. Jake Bates went 100%, only attempted 1 field goal from 48. He nailed it and made all of his extra points. Jack Fox was very good on punting, 2 for 102. It's 51 yards per punt. It's really, really good. I'll go over team stats here real quick. Total yards, 262 is all for the Vikings, 394 for the Lions. 142 passing yards for the Vikings, 216 for the Lions. Rushing yards, 120 for the Vikings, 178 for the Lions. Yards per play, 4.2 for the Vikings, 6 for the Lions. 14 first downs for the Vikings, 24 for us. 3 for 13 third down efficiency for the Vikings, 5 for 12 for us. Fourth down efficiency, the Vikings went 0 for 3. We went 50%, going for 2 for 4. Total plays, they had 62, we had 66. Sacks allowed, they had 2, we had 2 as well. One of the sacks that we did allow was on a Jared Goff scramble, so I'm not tripping about it. Punts, 3 for the Vikings, 2 for the Lions. Penalties, yardage, 6 for 30 for the Vikings, 8 for 49 for the Lions. We do got to clean that up. That's the one thing I did not like from this game, was the amount of penalties we had. Fumbles lost, 0 and 0. Interceptions thrown, 0 for Sam Darnold, 2 for Jared Goff. Time possession, 23 minutes and 48 seconds for the Minnesota Vikings, 36 minutes and 12 seconds for the Detroit Lions. So we had about almost 15 more minutes of times of possession than the Minnesota Vikings. We absolutely dominated. Aaron Glenn had called a heck of a game. I think that was honestly probably his best showing as a Detroit Lion. In terms of the team he was going against. I know he won against the Jaguars. I know he won against the Titans and played a very good game earlier this season. But those were against 2 worse teams and 2 worse offenses than the Minnesota Vikings, who were top 3 in the league, in my opinion. So I think this overall was Aaron Glenn's best coaching, Jay, as a Detroit Lion. And he definitely showed he's going to be a head coach next season. So we are down to, in my opinion, to our last few games with Aaron Glenn and potentially Ben Johnson as well as a Detroit Lions. So that sucks, but Aaron Glenn, well deserved. Let's go over the Vikings highlights here real quick as well for the players that we could not contain. Sam Darnold went under 50% a day, 18 for 41 for only 166. That is, I believe, like 47% completion percentage. That is an unreal performance by the Lions defense to hold Sam Darnold to that amount of yardage and the completion percentage. Cam Akers was their leading rusher, 6 for 65. Now, one of those runs was, I believe, a 45-yarder or 50-yarder, so we held him in check besides that. Aaron Jones was all right, 10 for 45. Jefferson, again, we contained him, 3 for 54. Naylor, 3 for 53. Everybody else was pretty quiet on the day. Hawkinson, he was extremely quiet. I think they were expecting him to be open and have a big asset in this game. He was not, only catching 2 for 9. Anzalone was on him most of the time, him and Jack Campbell. They were able to both keep him in check. On the defensive side of the ball, Ivan Pace got the interception off the tip ball, and Jonathan Grenard got a sack, which was on Taylor Decker. Harrison Smith also got a pick. That was the deep ball to J-Mo, and the other sack came from Jonathan Bullard, which was the Jared Goff scramble where he just lost yardage, so I'm not tripping about that at all. Will Riker went 3 for 4, missing a field goal. It was kind of huge, but at the same time wasn't, because then we're going to come back for it anyway. So, again, the Lions, they absolutely dominated this game. They really did on all sides of the ball. The only things out of this game that I really didn't like is the amount of penalties we had. And some of the offensive play calling. There was a couple of plays I didn't really like that the Lions called. I didn't like when they went for 4th down and passed it. I understand what they were trying to do, but I didn't like the call. They also did an extremely risky 4th and 5. They went for it and they got it. So that, wow, don't mind that voice crack. But they were able to convert it. That's all we care about. But that 4th down and inches that we decided to pass it, I do not like that call at all. Again, I understand what they were trying doing, but in my opinion, just run the ball. Quarterback sneak, tush push, whatever it is. Don't throw the ball, though. It's too risky, especially with the defensive line they have. But besides that, man, we played a heck of a game. We clinched the 1 seed. We clinched the NFC North. And we're going to get a week off. It's the first time since week 5. So we're going to be getting a lot of players back. In terms of injuries for the game, we lost Pat O'Connor. He went down, I believe, in the 3rd quarter. He got ruled out almost instantly. I believe it was a hand injury. I can't remember what the injury was for him. But that could be a big loss for the interior. He is by far 2nd best interior defensive lineman. So we got to go get one in free agency this week or poach somebody from a practice squad. Calais Campbell and the Dolphins did get eliminated from playoff contention, so he'll probably be released this upcoming week, so maybe we can get him. But we lost him. We lost Taron Arnold. Again, I already talked about him. And the other guy we lost was Kevin Zeitler. We lost him. And on the last drive, Kevin Zeitler went down. He came out of the game. He got a hamstring injury. I wanted to see if Dan Campbell was going to talk about it in his press conference. He didn't. So hopefully he's all right. Pride of Detroit did say on a Twitter post that it seemed pretty good, and he was just standing with trainers on the sideline when he came out. So hopefully it's nothing to worry about. But for the most part, I think we stayed healthy this game, even though it might not seem like it. I do think Taron Arnold has a chance to be back as well for the divisional game, and I think Pat O'Connor as well, depending on the severity, obviously. So for the main part, I mean, we stayed healthy. We're going to get Ennis Rakestraw back probably here before the divisional round. We should potentially get Monty back as well. And then a week or two after that, we'll get potentially Hutch and Derek Barnes back as well. So we have thoughts in the comments down below. This is unreal. It's surreal. Now we just got to get that Super Bowl. Now we just got to get the Super Bowl. We have now achieved everything we needed to achieve in the regular season. The regular season comes to a close. And now we just got to get that Super Bowl. One Pride, go Lions. Leave thoughts, comments down below. Is there any things from this game you didn't like? And who would you like to face in the divisional round? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. One Pride, go Lions.